Experiencing homelessness is a difficult reality for many, especially children. They are among those impacted in the rural eastern Kentucky county of Harlan. A loss of jobs in the coal industry and an increase in drug use has left many fractured families. Helping the next generation of children thrive could depend on reinventing the future. That story from correspondent Mark Irons.
Framed images on the brick wall of a shop in eastern Kentucky show the heyday of coal, when mining brought money and economic growth to the area. Perhaps unforeseen at the time, all the risks that would come along with it. Lung disease for miners who spent years breathing in coal dust, and economic dependency for a region reliant on the success of coal. Now in a world continuously powered by alternative energy sources, the industry has gathered rust here. For years, coal was king here in eastern Kentucky, but when the industry died out, so did the jobs. And since then, the economy has deteriorated. Poverty has grown, and so have the challenges for people in this part of the country. Levi Lewis has lived those challenges.
We come from a poor community. Poor community. Rich get rich, poor stay poor.
Lewis grew up in eastern Kentucky. He found work driving coal trucks as long as he could.
Then the coal mines started drying up and they just wasn't no work. Very few mines working.
He had to leave the region, but he still knows people back in rural eastern Kentucky who live in extreme poverty, can't find work, and don't have a home.
What can you say? They building little shacks up there. Some of them tents, whatever, wherever they can lay down, you know.
Driving throughout Harlan County, Kentucky, on the southeastern edge of the state, we saw it firsthand, what homelessness in rural America can look like.
Sheds, buildings, deplorable conditions, trailers with no windows, no electricity, no water. That's what it looks like here.
In Harlan County, homelessness is impacting many people, perhaps most notably children. Of the little over 3,000 students enrolled in Harlan County Public Schools, 1,300 experience homelessness.
It's almost half. Not half, but almost half. And I'm sure there's students we've missed.
Gina Stewart has a full-time job in the public school system identifying these children. Officially, she's known as the McKinney-Vento liaison, serving as a link between a federal program and the county schools. The McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act, originally passed by Congress in 1987, includes funding for the educational needs of students experiencing homelessness around the country. The situation in Harlan County is so bad, all 9 public schools have a homelessness coordinator on staff.
We have the highest rate per capita of homeless students in Harlan County of any other district in the state of Kentucky.
So Stewart works to provide children with shoes, clothing, eyeglasses, or school supplies in an effort to help them be successful. But without a reliable place to live and a good night's sleep, it's hard enough for many just to make it to school.
Chronic absenteeism is a big problem for homeless students.
Why are some people homeless here? It could be a number of reasons. From a declining coal industry and jobs sucked out of the region to a crippling opioid epidemic that has filled the void and fractured families.
Right now, the biggest thing is drugs.
A cycle of chronic poverty continues for some. And almost 2 years ago, eastern Kentucky took another hit when a historic flood claimed 45 lives. Bordering Harlan in Letcher County, people are still recovering in the tiny town of Neon. Boarded up buildings on the main street show there's a long way to go. But this time of renewal could be just what is needed for a region that has hurt for a long time.
We want to use this disaster as an opportunity to leapfrog forward.
Since the flood, Neon resident Jeff Hawkins and his wife Cheryl have rebuilt their coffee shop and event space on the main street. A sign by the door shows how high the water was. They believe it's time to imagine a brighter future for eastern Kentucky, a place that hasn't fully recovered from the rise and fall of the coal industry. Those pictures sticking to the brick wall of their shop showing the heyday of coal are fastened to the past.
So for us in this area, we have to figure out how we will reinvent ourselves and not rely on a single industry to drive the economic future of the region.
And in the present moment, there are plenty of people who just need a hand. From those struggling with drug addiction to children and families experiencing homelessness to people like Levi Lewis, who spent years working just to live paycheck to paycheck until he couldn't even do that anymore.
What can you say? I was a working man, you know what I mean, just making ends meet.
After he left the mines of eastern Kentucky, he settled 2 hours west here in Lexington. He found work for over 20 years, but had a stroke in 2017, couldn't keep up with bills, and found himself on the streets.
And what can you say? I laid on the streets for about almost 3 years.
Well, we have 101 beds.
Lewis says if it wasn't for the Catholic Action Center, which provides food, shelter, and community for men and women who have no home, he probably wouldn't be talking to us.
If I had got in here, I'd probably done been dead 2 years ago, because you can't live in zero weather outside sleeping on the ground, you know. You got to have something to keep you from freezing to death.
You know, everybody has to have a place to call home. Everybody has to belong somewhere.
Jenny Ramsey is co-founder and director of the Catholic Action Center. It's a unique place. Without federal, state, or local funding, Ramsey says the center doesn't have a budget per se and runs on sheer generosity from the community. She encourages others to replicate this approach to service based solely on trust in God.
They have to just take the first step. Whether you call it walk in faith or whether you call it walk in foolishness, start it and you'll find out that people are good and people will help.
It's the kind of mentality that could really help those who have no home in eastern Kentucky or any part of the country. Ramsey says to ignore them is to ignore the gospel mandate to serve.
People look beyond and don't want to see people experiencing homelessness and saying they are the poor that the scriptures talk about.
Mark Irons, EWTN News In Depth.